Hey there, and welcome to Throw Up Thursday. I'm your host, Dr. JJ Kelly, the punk rock doc.
Well, hello there, and welcome to Throw Up Thursday. I'm your host, Dr. JJ Kelly. I'm the punk rock doc, and punk rock doc was late today. So I apologize for that, mostly to Olivia, the co-host, who will be on any second here. Hey, Sarah's here, and Olivia.
Beg your pardon for the lateness. She should be on any second. So, hi, beg your pardon.
All good. Thank you for apologizing.
Why are you muffled? You're a little muffled. Hey, Marcel, hello.
I don't know. I hear that on your side too.
Oh.
Maybe it's just going to be a little bit of a muffled, a little cozy.
It's because we're both wearing hats.
Oh, the phone, the microphone can't hear us through the hat.
Perhaps not, yes. All right, how are you?
I'm
today.
What?
We have sun today, finally.
We have sun today. I'm glad. It's like doesn't look like 5 o'clock at night all the time, which we love.
Yeah, that was hard.
Yes, but I'm doing good. I'm feeling the like holiday spirit of just like this, just like, oh my God, I love people. I love seeing people. I love connecting with people. I just want to give everyone a big hug, but just, with my vibes.
Yeah. I'll hug you with my vibe.
With my vibes. I'm just really vibey.
So, what do we got in the hopper today? For
all right.
those who don't know, you ask a question, we answer it. Let's do it. Hey, Astrid.
All right. I got some questions. I got a question from Astrid's friend, actually.
Oh, great.
So they say, my housemate keeps eating my food and groceries. Originally, I'd said she could help herself to my food because I didn't think I'd be the only one in the house buying groceries. I want to set a boundary with her. Do you have advice for confrontations with a really passive-aggressive person?
I think that you go at it the same with everybody. If that person does have a history of passive-aggressive behavior, that probably is true. It may or may not be how they behave with you, but why don't you just keep your side of the street clean and ask for what you want? I think the major thing with questions like this about roommate stuff is that people are afraid to do the confrontation part. It's, some people can get away with, let's just clean whenever, or let's just buy groceries whenever. More often than not, that does not work. So now it's a great time to establish boundaries. And while you're talking about it, if the chore wheel thing is not in place, you might want to do that as well. But I would go into it with a deer. Look, I originally said, you're welcome to my food. I would just go in and say what I said. I've changed my mind. Please don't eat my food anymore and get your own. I'd appreciate it. That's the deer. You got an idea on that?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, you just got to keep it real simple. Don't start thinking, you have to be clever or there's some way around this that is more complex. This is a very simple situation. It seems difficult, or you tell yourself it's difficult because you're scared.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the stuffed anger and the resentment can make it seem like a much scarier confrontation than what it really is. It's like, hey, I said we could share groceries. I've changed my mind. Please get your own groceries. Thanks. Like that. And just like very short, super low stakes. And if the person behaves in a shitty way about that, then that's them doing it. But that's a pretty simple ask, like cut and dry.
Yeah. And then you broken record them.
Yeah.
If they push back on something that simplistic, yikes.
Yeah.
And B, you just repeat the deer again. You just keep repeating that shit until it's time to walk away. And if they keep arguing with you, I don't really think they're going to do that. But if they do, walk away. So So in the spirit of keeping this simple, I would like to be done with this question. Just because I don't want to give the impression that there's more to it than that.
Yeah.
I don't want to mess with Astrid's friend's head by talking about it more.
Definitely.
So good luck.
Cool. Okay. Here's another one
Yeah.
from Allie's friend. So they said, my boyfriend of 3 years just asked me to move in with him. I told him to give me some time to think it over. I'm pretty sure I want to. I have a lot of fear about it, though. Do you have advice for when making big decisions?
For when making what?
Big decisions.
I mean, I think they already did something really smart, which is take a minute to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then what do? We check in on what our emotions are. They said fear.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Validate your fear. That is very sensible to have fear about a big decision like that.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm sure you've heard me say this, Olivia, the quickest way to end a relationship is to move in with somebody. However, I'm also not trying to deter anyone from taking that next step. 3 years seems like a reasonable amount of time to me. It's not 6 months or whatever. So think it through. Maybe make your list of values or pros and cons in this situation.
Yeah.
Right? There are hella cons. So what are the pros? By the way, regardless of where you live, including the Bay Area where it's really expensive, I don't think money is a reason to move in with somebody. It seems like a really practical reason to do it,
Mm-hmm.
but if saving money is in like the top 3 reasons to do it, it usually doesn't work out. It's too big of a thing to share with somebody, to have it. Money is for roommates.
Yeah.
This is more than roommates. Hopefully, you want it to be more than roommates. It's more complex than that because it's romantic. So, domestic labor. I don't know if this is a hetero relationship or not. If it is, the way domestic labor continues to work, even in this day and age, is that the female does more than the male-bodied person.
Mm-hmm.
So, if it's like cis hetero, then I would caution, if it's a her, I would caution her about like getting realistic about setting boundaries around cleaning and shopping, grocery shopping, and all that kind of stuff, because there are sexist norms that people still adhere to whether they mean to or not. A lot of it's unintentional, yet it still exists. So I would get real clear about that. If it's even that kind of relationship, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think as the roommate thing before, just like keeping it structured with the chore wheel, and like you're in a relationship, but you still want to be as respectful as you would be to a roommate. Like, just because they're your partner doesn't mean that you can slack on taking care of the house for either party. And I think if you like to make sure that you talk about what your expectations are, maybe of like living together, of like, like if you really want your alone time, to make sure that you are able to still get that alone time, and that
everybody
possible.
Schedule alone time. Your point is
Yeah.
well taken. Not if,
Yeah.
when, and how. Hey, Torben. Yeah, alone time is a big deal, and you might want to talk about sex.
Yeah.
And how often and what kind. I mean, all of this is about being able to communicate and talk about scary things.
Mm-hmm.
Getting into conflict is inevitable,
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay,
Yeah.
because you're working a lot of shit out. It's just you want to be able to fight fairly,
Yeah.
without hurting each other's feelings. Some people give a shit about like whether the toilet paper goes over or under. Some people don't care at all. And you don't want to shame people for having different focal points or things that are important to them in a living situation. You don't want to slack on boundaries just because it's somebody that you're having sex with.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
exactly.
that sounds real common sense, but I'll tell you what, people let shit slide a lot, or they fight all the time because they're so vulnerable, because it's a romantic partnership. So just get everything out in the open. Yes,
Yeah,
you were like, let's talk about this and this and this before we even get in it.
definitely. I think approaching it as like multiple conversations to have for a while, to be like, let's figure this out, let's talk about it throughout an extended period of time, instead of like, we're going to have one conversation, we're going to figure it all out at once.
Right.
It's like a big decision, I think, is better dealt with incrementally and like very productive and like honest ways of like, I don't have to decide everything right now. There's not going to be this one moment where I'm like, okay, I know the answer. But
Right.
like,
so all those years of doing couples therapy, this is not my idea. I use it a lot with people, but it was not originally my idea. The hour of power. So 1 hour set aside, ideally the same time every week, where things about the relationship are talked about. It's a strike while the iron is cold situation, so you don't have to fight about every goddamn thing all week. You can be like, okay, because a lot of times it's the same fight all week, or 8 out of the 10 fights are about the same thing, even though they seem like they're not.
Yeah.
You can store it and be like, I'll save that. I don't really want to get in a 4-hour fight right now. I think I'm going to save this one for the hour of power. And you set a timer, and you don't go over an hour. You hold those boundaries so nobody gets super burned out.
Yeah.
And if there's nothing to talk about conflictually, at least you still have an hour together. You can talk about what's going right. And I encourage you to do that too, because the relationship will be tested quite a lot in the beginning. So you want to, not totally lose sight in a well-intended problem-solving path. You don't want to lose sight of remembering what you like about the person.
Yeah, and like why you want to be with them and live with them.
And you will have times where you can't stand the sight of them. They might not even do anything. They're just breathing or something like that. That just means you need some more alone time. So I think one of the top 3 things I say to couples is, please do not threaten to end the relationship. Do not threaten to move out or kick them out or whatever. Really try to discipline yourself not to say those things when shit gets heated. You only have a certain amount, I think it's a finite amount of times you can say a threat like that before you've damaged it so much you might not be able to come back from it.
Yeah.
Plus you can get, when you do that first one of saying something shitty that violates your values, it kind of cracks the door open for you to say it again.
Yeah.
So I encourage you just not to say it. And maybe you want to talk about that before you move in. Certain things that are just not acceptable to say or to do, even once. And I'm not saying if they then do it once, immediately break up with them, but you want to know that you're with somebody who does what they say they're going to do. I'm not sure what Marcel's saying is so true there.
I think just the whole thing that you're saying.
I'm definitely curious. Yeah, but he's got a very sharp mind. I would love to know exactly what he is responding to right now. But yeah, these are off the top of my head. Good luck. It is a big step, and it has very difficult moments, especially in the beginning. If you can behave in a way that you are proud of, threats to leave. Major toxic move. That's what I thought you were going to say, too. Yeah, you just can't threaten. I don't know. I wish, if I thought about it, I bet I could come up with a number that's fairly accurate when if you say it one more time than that, the other person's like, oh, fuck this.
Yeah.
I'm sick of this. We're here again. Like we're trying, we're in a conflict because we're trying to work it out. And now
Yeah.
you drop that card of like, oh, we're so done, or like whatever the fuck. You just can't. Well, maybe I should just leave then. Like, just don't do it, people. Don't do it. But it can be really fun to coexist with a partner. You got your best buddy with you. You can fuck around and be, like lay around, and it can be really fun too. You just have to do shit on purpose. You have to be really deliberate and mindful about your choices. Be careful, be careful with how you treat that person, and be careful with yourself and your own boundaries. You love them. That doesn't mean you have to drop your boundaries or alone time. In fact, it's better for the relationship if you have time apart, quality time with yourself and your friends away from your partner. Especially you live with them, you get to come home to them. So playing outside of the home is really, really fun.
Yeah.
Wow, I wonder how old that person is. Like, that's a pretty significant relationship. I bet they're in their 20s. Like, woo, good luck.
That's exciting.
Just be careful with yourself and others. My goodness, people shacking up at Christmas time.
Ooh, last Christmas, I gave you my heart. And then we stayed together. We weren't apart.
No, nerd alert. Well, I think we should call it there.
I think so. That was the last question I had, so I was going to call it there.
Thanks, too. Those are great questions, people. Love it. Yeah, that's good stuff. Woo. So I think we'll do one more of these and then call it for the year. I think we'll do it next week, and then we'll start up again in the new year. So I'll save all the holiday salutations for then. But if you want to learn more about emotional intelligence skills, drjjkelly.com. I do free consults. There's hella content on IG here. Yeah. What'd you say?
3 books. 3 of them.
I got 3 books. Still, you can learn a lot from those books.
Christmas presents. Hello. Give the gift of emotional intelligence. Hello.
So, thanks for joining us here on Thursday. Hope you barfed your problems and leave feeling better. Olivia, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Always a pleasure. See you next week. All lots of love and laughs. Mwah. Get in touch with me, Dr. JJ Kelly, the punk rock doc, at drjjkelly.com.